Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all healthy and safe. So this is the Honor Magic Pro 2020. It was just announced at IFA like 3 days ago, and I've been using it for about the same period of time. So this is a new laptop from Honor that runs on AMD's Ryzen 5 4600H processor. Now this is a processor that was introduced late last year by AMD that's meant to be an affordable but powerful, or at least powerful enough, alternative to the Intel Core i3 chipsets out there. And I've been using it for 2-3 days as my main work machine, and I would say so far it has delivered. But first, let's look at the overall construction and build quality. So this looks like many other laptops on the market. It's crafted out of aluminum. Feels pretty nice and sturdy in the hand. It has this very familiar space gray coating finish. I do like that the back and the front of the machine tapers off in this angle. I mean, it doesn't really do anything, but I just think it looks nice. Now, in terms of ports, you have a USB-C on the left side with an HDMI port and a USB-A 3.0. So this USB-C is used to charge the laptop too. On the right side, you have 2 more USB-A and a headphone jack. So in terms of ports, I'm satisfied, but I do wish we had gotten 1 more USB-C, like maybe trade this USB-A for another USB-C so we can have 2 of each. Now this hinge is pretty sturdy. You notice that once you open, it stays in place. There's not much wobble, and it opens pretty wide. This is as wide as it opens up to. Now, despite this machine being a little bit large overall, it only weighs 1.7 kg. That's 3.7 pounds for Americans, and its overall thickness is just 16.9 millimeters. So it's a relatively light and thin machine. Now, looking at the screen, you have a 16.1 inch 1080p LCD panel. There's a matte coating on it, so it does not attract glare that much. Still a little bit, but not that bad. The screen is a 16.9 aspect ratio. Now, usually I would complain about 16.9 aspect ratio because I prefer laptops with 3:2 aspect ratios because it's a little bit taller up and down. And if you're writing articles and reading emails or just reading websites words, you want more space vertically instead of left to right. A widescreen aspect ratio is just great for watching movies. So usually I would complain on a 13 inch, but because this is a 16-inch screen, it's actually large enough from top to bottom anyway, even with this wider aspect ratio. And in return, you do get a really beautiful movie watching experience. Certain videos will fill up the entire screen without any letter boxing. Now, in terms of screen brightness, you do get a pretty good range. You can have the screen get pretty dim like this, all the way up to about 350, 360 nits of brightness. It is bright enough for outdoor use, but it is not the absolute brightest panel around. Now, unlike Huawei's more premium laptop line, this screen is not a touchscreen. You cannot touch it. You have to just control using a trackpad or a mouse. But the good news is the trackpad here is actually very nice. It's actually better, at least in my opinion, than the trackpad in the Huawei MateBook X Pro. So that's Huawei's top dog machine. But that trackpad is a little bit too sensitive. And I found that whenever I'm trying to just drag my finger around, I'll be accidentally triggering unwanted taps all the time. I am not having this issue here. It seems like Honor has fine-tuned the software of the trackpad, the drivers, so that they're precise enough, but you don't get all these accidental touches. Now, about this keyboard, it's a fundamentally good keyboard in that it's a backlit keyboard. The keys are evenly spaced out, and they give you a lot of travel, and there's a really good bounciness to it. When you press in the keys, it bounces back at you. It's a very satisfactory tactile feedback. However, there is one major problem. It is that this is not a QWERTY keyboard. If you look at the keys here, it's Q, W, E, R, T, Z. So it's not QWERTY like what most of us are used to. This is a quartz keyboard. I'll be honest, I've never seen this keyboard before in my life. I had to actually Google it just to learn that this is a keyboard that's used in Central Europe, in countries like the Czech Republic, Hungary, and maybe Germany. Some parts of Germany uses that. But to be honest, I've been to Germany like 5 times, and I've used computers at the hotel lobbies and stuff, and it was not this keyboard too. This keyboard changes a couple of things fundamentally. The Y and Z keys are flipped. On top of that, the shift button has been moved. It is now this little up arrow here, and the control button has been changed to STRG. And on the right side, there are also these extra buttons for these are letters and vowels for Central European languages. I believe German and a couple of other Central European languages uses these keys. Now I respect that Honor made a keyboard specifically for that region of Europe, but to be honest, I would say most of the world are not familiar with this keyboard. It's not just me in Hong Kong. If you live in the US, if you live in Canada, if you live in Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, and the UK, you're used to a QWERTY keyboard, and this really throws you off. Now the good news is that you can actually change it in software. What I did was I went to software and I picked a QWERTY keyboard instead, so I basically forced this keyboard to behave like a QWERTY keyboard. So what this means is now if I hit this Z key right here, it actually shows up as a Y because the software is running a QWERTY keyboard even though I'm hitting Z. Now I want to make clear that this is not a flaw per se because again, if you live in the Czech Republic, this keyboard will be perfect for you. When you buy this as a consumer, I'm pretty sure Honor will give you the option to select your keyboard. Like if you're buying this in the UK, you'll probably be able to get a QWERTY keyboard instead of this Central European keyboard. Now next to the keyboard are these speaker grills. Now unfortunately, despite the fact that they look pretty large and quite visually striking, they are not that loud. On most laptops, I can usually keep volume at just 60-70%. With this laptop, I find that I have to go above 90 most of the time. So you see right now, it's at max volume.
Your suit, vibranium.
The Black Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for generations.
So if you lower it to just 64 right now, see, it's a little bit hard to hear. Right?
Because your friend murdered my
Oh, let's do a proper speaker test. So now there's 50% volume. I'm going to max volume. Now, as is the case with Huawei's line of laptops, the webcam is actually located inside this keyboard right here in the F key. So you just press it and it pops up like that, and then now you have a webcam. Now, this is not the greatest angle because it shoots at you from a lower than usual angle. So that means, you know, it will show off your double chin if you're not in shape, and it's just not a flattering angle all around. To be honest, for people who make a lot of business video calls, this laptop might not be for you because of the position of the webcam. But for me, I'm okay with it. Like, I don't make a lot of video calls, so I don't really care. Okay, now about this processor. The Ryzen-5 4600H is a modern 45-watt processor with 6 cores and 12 threads. For the most part, if I'm doing office productivity, everything has been running smoothly. There's 16 gigs of RAM in this machine, so everything has been running fine. The graphics card is integrated into the Ryzen chip, and it is a Radeon RX Vega 6 GPU. This graphics chip is about on par with the Intel MX250 that's used in the Huawei MateBook X Pro, so that means you can play games on this at probably medium graphics setting is fine. So this is a light gaming laptop. It's definitely not for major games, but you play something like Asphalt 9, it'll run perfectly fine on this. Now, if you care about benchmarks, this machine scored a 4,589 in 3D Mark 11. That's a relatively high score for a machine in this sub $1,000 price range. Now, there's a 56 watt-hour battery inside, and for me, it's been getting me about 6 to 7 hours of use on a single charge. Now, my usage, it's probably not quite the heaviest it can be, but it's up there. I do a lot of word processing, streaming Spotify, a lot of watching YouTube, stuff like that. So overall, I'm really liking the Honor MagicBook Pro, except for the fact that the keyboard's really throwing me off. But again, that's not really a fault of Honor, but more just, you know, regional differences. Now, the pricing is relatively affordable. So this machine, the base model has only 8 gigs of RAM with 256 gigs of internal storage. That machine starts at 750 euros, which is about 884 US dollars. Now this unit I'm testing doubles the RAM and storage. You get 16 gigs of RAM with 512 gigs of storage, and it goes for 850 euros, which comes out to about an even 1,000 US dollars. Now there are going to be discounts on this thing and special deals, all that. So for the most part, you should be able to find this machine, the 16 gig RAM version, for a little bit under 1,000 US dollars. Now, if you're not that heavy a user, you can even consider the 8 gig RAM version and save another 150 bucks and get this for around $800 US. I think for this price, this is one of the better kind of mid-tier laptops around. I mean, this is definitely not a powerhouse machine for you to edit like 4K videos or do major heavy graphics work or gaming. But for most people, you just need a work machine. This is a good option. I really like the large screen, that you get so much more screen real estate compared to a 13-inch machine. So anyway, that's about it for this first look at the Honor MagicBook Pro. I have more videos coming up. Next up should be the Samsung Galaxy Fold 2 review, and then there's probably the Realme 7 Pro and a couple more devices from Xiaomi too. So anyway, that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel or follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews. Take care. Thanks for watching.